There are some people who already say that your new movie is gonna be next cult movie, the cult movie.
Yeah.
You know, do you think such things can be recognized so soon after the final shot?
No, I don't think. I mean, I do. With everything I make, I try to make films that will last. I try to make movies that won't be disposable, but I can't guess how time will actually treat it. I hope that it does, and I hope that 10 years from now people are still watching it and talking about it. But that's beyond what I can honestly say. I don't know, and I can only hope.
I'm just curious, which qualities, according to you, does a cult movie need to have to be a cult movie, to become one?
It's a good question. For me, what I try to do is make choices in the storytelling that are just a little bit left of center. And I'm not trying to make a film that is outlandish or jarring, or you have a cult film on the one hand like a John Waters picture, which is shocking, and I'm not trying to do anything like that, but I do try to make choices that are unexpected in a subtle way and that don't go down easy. Regardless of whether someone enjoys the film or not, I do hope that the way the story unfolds is not as familiar as perhaps they were expecting, and it's not in a big way. They're all in little ways, and I always describe it as a film that hopefully sticks in your throat as you're trying to swallow it, and that I think is what those are the films that last, because they don't go down easy. There's something about them that just doesn't quite go down easy.
And after the success of the film, the Variety magazine put you into the top 10 of the remarkable directors of today. So have you seen any change in the in the response from, I don't know, producers or from other people in the business, that now something is really changed and something is going on now?
There is, right now, and I feel very lucky, and I feel that I am in a position for I don't know how long it'll last, but right now where people are interested in what I'm making next, and I'm able to take other scripts and consider them, and there are things that I didn't have a year ago that I have now, where I can go. I know where I can go to get money for my next film. I know where I can go to. There are opportunities available I did not have before. I've worked very hard to make a living as a filmmaker and to make good films, and it's nice that it has, in the past 6 months, paid off, so to speak. And I don't know how long that will last. Maybe it'll last for a while, maybe it won't. But while it's happening, I'm certainly going to take advantage of it and continue to make more pictures and make hopefully another great movie. But even if it went away tomorrow, I would still be making another movie. That's regardless of what happens, I'm always going to be just pursuing the next project and the next film and trying to make the best film I can. So right now I have a lot of opportunities and resources that I did not have, and hopefully they'll last. But if they don't, that's not going to change how I go about things.
Is there a case that when some independent American filmmaker succeeds, then Hollywood's trying to get him, or?
Yeah, I see a little bit of that, and there's I've been sent scripts for movies that I don't want to do that are certainly of the Hollywood type, and I have nothing against Hollywood. I love Hollywood movies, and if the right one came along, I would certainly do it. But right now, it's very important for me to write the things that I direct, or at least rewrite them, and to really focus on something that I care about. I can't make a movie that I don't care about.
You made the last movie in Band of Saints with quite a low budget, and you are probably used to it. So my question is, did you have to sacrifice something you wanted to have in the movie because of the money you didn't have?
Really, the only thing that changes when you have a little bit more money is that you lose a little bit of the freedom that you would have had. Like if you have no money at all, no one's expecting anything, and you can kind of do anything you want because no one is getting paid, and there are no rules you have to follow. and because everyone is there because they want to be there. As soon as you have a little bit of a budget, everyone's getting paid, and you can only shoot a certain number of days because you'll run out of money. And so you start having rules imposed upon you that you don't have when you have zero money. That being said, you get a lot of great things in return, and those are craftsmen, like skilled craftsmen, and great actors, and people who I did not have access to in the past. So it's a win some, lose some situation, and there's no better way to do it. It's just, that's the nature of filmmaking. When you start adding certain quantities that cost money into the equation, you lose a little bit of the freedom you might have had, but at the same time, you're able to actually pay yourself, which is a wonderful thing. I've always paid for the movies out of my own pocket, so being able to actually make a living doing it was a wonderful new discovery.
Okay, so was it easy to convince movie stars like Casey Affleck to participate in your movie?
It was surprisingly easy. Yeah.
Amount of money.
It was surprisingly easy. I never talked to the actors about money, and that's for the business side of things. The agents handle all of that. They know it's a low budget movie, and I would just sit down and talk to them about the script and what I wanted, and they had seen my short film, and it was very simple. Like we sat down for a couple hours and just talked, and the next day, they said they wanted to do it. So it was surprisingly easy, and maybe it won't ever be that easy again, but I think just having a good script and having the conviction of how you envision it is all you really need to do.
Ain't But the Saints is about a person on the run. So is one of your last movies, Saint Nick. So why do you like this topic? Can you tell us more about it? Do you prefer it?
I've been thinking about it lately because I try not to do much self-analyzation, but Saint Nick was all about kids on the run because they didn't want to grow up. Yeah. And that's something that I identify with. Like whether it's that or Peter Pan, I've always been terrified of the idea of becoming an adult and having to make adult decisions and adult responsibilities. And I've always run away from it my whole life. And so I think that comes through, especially in Saint Nick, which was all about that on a very overt level. But in Ain't Them Bodies Saints, that is the case as well, especially with Casey's character, because he has an idea of how he can make the world work for himself. And he is an idealist and a dreamer and thinks that he can get away with doing things his own way. And the fact of the matter is that he can't. And the tragedy of his character, or the hubris of it, is that he's unable to actually make good on his idealism. And that is something that, his character is a little boy who realized that he has to grow up at the end. And that's something, I hadn't thought about that until after we finished the film, but that's very personal to me, that whole idea. And that is why these films feel similar, I think, is that they're about me trying to figure out how to deal with the fact that I'm growing up.